Hey, morning, welcome in, guys. We just got an Amiga 500. This has been on my desk for a long time. We've only just got around to taking a look at this. We have basically, it requires diagnostics, so obviously doesn't work. They paid for a full recap, so we can do that at some point. A new clock battery, and then that's it. And basically, I don't think they want any more work doing. I've got a few where they say try and fix it first, and then we'll do more work. Hey, morning on TikTok. Yeah, he brought a load of stuff from us. Nice. Purchase from eBay. Won't power on, not sure if it's the PSU. Open up the Amiga, take a look, and the battery's corroded. So yeah, probably similar to most of them that we work on, basically. We have this. I don't even know if it's related or whether they've just taken a photo. I think they're just thinking this may be an area of concern, but we'll take a look ourselves. There's nothing else there really on it. So first thing will be getting this open, I guess. Yeah, see, I had the, what was it, the Atari STE or, no, XG, like the gaming one, I think. And we've got the other bit on here, where have I put them? I can never find these once I need them. I never remember where I put them. I think they're in one of these. Yeah, I had the Atari with the Chucky egg and the tape drive. Basically, it's the first one I can remember having. That's too small, I think. Oh. So that is where the bits are, but that bit isn't in. How about I put it in this one, maybe? Nope, what have I done with that little? I bet I know where I've put it. I put it right where I need it on the bench, and then forgot that that's where I put it. I've also reduced the noise cancellation a little bit when I watched it back, and like the fan noise was confusing people. So I've turned off the noise cancellation, like not all of it, but the Elgato side of it. So you should hear a bit more natural noises now, not just complete silence and then me talking. But it does mean you'll hear the fan running when we come to do the fan. You will hear that. But it shouldn't be, super loud, hopefully. I think, if I remember rightly, the rest are fine. That'll be holding the floppy disk in. I think that's it. So I think we only need to take them out for now. And then when you lift these up, what you want to do is get another tool that's gone missing. My little flat blade. There we go. You want to get the flat blade in on this side piece here. So you want to lift up the keyboard slightly and then get this in and do that first. Otherwise, these clips tend to snap off, basically. Hey, welcome in from Greece. We're just having a quick look at an Amiga 500 Plus, this is. So almost definitely going to be capacitor, like clock cap, which is actually a battery, but I call them, like some people say it's not a capacitor, it's a battery. If I'm saying clock cap, it's a general term for either a large capacitor or a battery. I don't tend to focus too much on the naming of things correctly. So in the Amiga, it's basically 3 coin cells, 3 little LiPo coin cells in a row. It's not actually a capacitor, but I'll still call it a clock cap because most of the system uses a capacitor for the clock. Well, actually, I say they don't, to be honest. The Xbox original does, and it only lasts a few minutes. The rest are actually batteries. So Should probably start saying clock battery, but it's just one of them phrases that's stuck in my head from probably working on Xbox Originals, to be honest. I left a little tip, thanks, I've just noticed. Sorry if you've already left before I noticed that, but you might see it on the playback. I need to fix the tips on one of them as well. I think one of the places you can leave a tip, it goes to Stream Elements and doesn't show up on stream. I'm going to update that today so it shows up on stream. Because there's a few places you can like tip from, basically. One more screw down there. That's the cage off. Yep, so we have leakage. Nothing too bad. Seen a hell of a lot worse. So this one isn't too bad. But there's still leakage on it that we need to sort. So the first sign of problem, and this is usually the only problem, most of them. Zoomy camera. So we can see there, this is the 3 coin cells in a row, clearly damaged and leaking. We've got the green over this, which is a basic logic chip, a 74 logic chip, but it'll talk to the RAM. So this shouldn't stop it booting. This should boot up, but with like probably green screen is normally what you'll get, thinking it's a RAM issue when it's not. But that's the only issue we can see. Well, at a minute, it's the only issue we can see. So we might as well get this fully out because it's going to need to be fully removed. So let's just get this fully disassembled first. I've only got, I started very late today. I've only got like an hour on this. I don't think I'll get it all fully finished maybe, and then we've got to jump on a ton of PS2s. We've got to make 6 PS2 prestige consoles with everything, HDMI mods, maxed out games. So we're due to start that at like 10 o'clock. So this one will have to get finished off in the afternoon probably, if I don't get it finished right now. But we'll see how far we get. We might get it done. Morning, welcome in. Just on this Amiga 500, I think I mentioned it on stream probably weeks and weeks ago that it was the next thing up on the list. It's just I've only just got round to it. So this is like the Ascending. We've had nothing but prestige builds and ready-made consoles for since then. So it's literally taken me about 2 weeks to get around to doing this one. But it looks fairly simple. This clip is always the hardest one to get the circuit out. There we go. Now this comes out, and then we have even more disassembly. We've then got to get the bottom cage out, so it's quite a lot of work to dismantle these things. Yeah, Atari STs. I've got one of them as well. I think. Yeah, I've got an Atari ST. I haven't even worked on them really ever yet. I brought them. I was going to go into the repairs, and then I think I don't even. I might be listed on the website, but we never see them for repair. This thing's dusty. But the main issue on these, at least the Amigas, is usually the clock cap or the RAM. At least on the 500s, they're the main ones. Let me see if we even have. I don't even know if we have the Ataris listed for send-ins anymore. Amigas, no, I don't even work on the Ataris now. We just, obviously, when we got busier and busier, I just limited things that we worked on, so they're not even listed now. Oh yeah, the C64s and programming. Yeah, they're all very similar as well, luckily, aren't they? So like the BBC Micros, I've done a bit of basic on them recently just to show off on a TikTok a while ago. I think I'm going to be missing this socket. But yeah, the Commodores are probably the most popular one, I'd say, for the programming side. Used to get them in the magazines with all the sample codes you could just type out and then obviously make a fully working program. Right, that needs the adapter. I should probably keep... This is a fairly common thing I need on my screwdriver kit, really, this socket, because if I do it enough, I should probably keep... Oh, there you go. That's probably why. I've got one out that I bet fits. Yeah. So I'm here saying I need to keep it out. I've literally got it out for that reason. Need a bigger desk. The Amiga STs were used for MIDI ports. That's good to know. Like for the high quality music side of things, maybe. And you have to remove all of these off the back. So all of the little thread posts that held all the connectors in, you have to remove every one of these to get the metal cage off. You repair Spectrums? I used to. We had a lot more listed on the website originally. But to be honest, when they were listed, almost never really repaired any. I think most people on the Spectrums, they just repaired them themselves. It was mainly like, replacing capacitors and voltage regulators, and they were so simple. I think most people just attempted to repair themselves, and if it failed, they got rid of it and brought another one. But I don't repair them now, just because we have too many jobs in, so we limited what we work on. Like over a year ago now, I think it was December last year or January last year, we really cut back on things that we work on to keep up. We have too many in, so they aren't actually listed. Well, I say they're not listed. I'd have to check again, but I'm pretty sure I removed them because, like I say, we almost never had them in anyway. It wasn't things that were actually very popular for repair. Log spam. I can't see any spam on mine. Has anybody getting spam on chat? I've just noticed it pop up on YouTube. It's not popping up on stream. Let me just take a quick look on YouTube. Might have already been caught by bots or something before I've seen it. Morning, welcome in Craig and Lee. Just spotted the messages. I'm just checking if we've got any spam. Somebody mentioned spam, but I can't see any. Oh, it does appear we also, I think, yeah, no spam on the horizontal. Let me just check the vertical. No, can't see any spam. So I don't know what what specifically that one person's seen, but there isn't spam on the chat that I can see. Right, so we could power this thing up. We probably will just to see where it's at. But if we go to the overhead, pull focus, see roughly where we're at. Where's my hand? Oh, pretty much right on the spot. There we go. So this is the only thing I can really see. Oh, thanks for the sub. You can see we've got a bit of damage here. And to be honest, it doesn't even look that bad that it's done much damage. This is that photo, I think, off the customer. They're wondering whether this is normal. This is actually fairly standard. I've seen this done. I don't know whether it's factory as such or whether it's people do this mod, but I've seen this. I can't even remember what it's for now. But yeah, that is normal. That's just some residual flux. But I think that's a factory bodge fix, if I remember rightly. Something to do with the audio circuit. This just wants to come off. But before we touch it, I think the only issue we might even have is just this one chip. There's practically no damage here, so it looks like it's been caught in time. The Gary chip looks completely untouched. So, not looking too bad. What we just might have is a single broken tracer or pad on this, or we might not even have an issue there, even though there's technically some leakage here, some electrolyte. It might not be causing an issue. So let's just give this one a power up. and see where we're at. I'll use the customer's power supply as well to start with, and then we can always try. It might be that their power supply is dead, and that's, again, one of the only issues. So let's just plug this in. I'm also short of AV cables because we've sold them all, but luckily I brought a few more Amigas because we keep selling the Amiga 1200s constantly. So we have an Amiga 1200 resting delicately on that box, ready to build up. And we've got this cable that comes with it, so hopefully this cable will work, because I've ran out. We're selling the Amigas that fast at the minute. I can't keep the bits we need in stock. Let's put this up on screen. So that on. Oh, we want that view still probably while we're doing this. Put this on the floor out there. Right then, this wants to go into RGB, and then audio over here. And we shouldn't need anything else. You don't need a keyboard or anything to boot. This should be all we need. I'll have to press the button on this though to get to the right mode, and then if we turn on, I presume we're going to see something. Nothing at all, which is rare. You don't normally get nothing. So either the problem is at the minute, I've got a cable that I don't know whether it works. We've got a power supply that's the customer. So let's just start with the obvious then. Let's swap the power supply. I could measure it, but it's just as quick to try another power supply. And again, this is not even my power supply. This is another power supply. So if I want to, I could actually go get my known working power supply. But for now, let's just try another one. More than likely just going to be the power supply's dead. We hope. If not, there's bigger problems. Yeah, there we go. So, oh, thought that was going to show up. Yep, there we go. So I think when I turned it on, it kind of glitched out the OSSC and swapped channel. So on and off, and that boots up fine. As I suspected, because the battery leakage isn't that bad, I don't think there's an issue there. And then this obviously boots up and then goes to the Kickstart run. So that's actually fine. So customer's power supply is dead. We'll give it one more go just to be sure. And then we will also got to do then is fully recap this and service it. And I'll probably, I definitely will take off the chip here and swap the battery and clean up that area. We're not going to leave it like that. That's just not something we can do, even if the customer pays or not for that. They have in this case, but even if they didn't, we wouldn't leave it like that. Yeah, so dead power supply, so they'll need a new power supply. And then they've already paid for the recap and repair, so we'll fix all these issues up. We might get this done then within the hour, if we're lucky. Under an hour, but we'll see how far we can get. We should get this done. So that one's dead. I wouldn't normally repair these old power supplies either. I'd recommend the customer buy a modern power supply. We don't make one yet, but people do. So let's get to some actual work. So overhead, the first thing we want to do is get rid of this battery. What I'd advise in this instance is just to cut the tabs first so you can see what you're doing. Nice and easy. Cut them tabs off, get rid of this old battery. I've got a new one, which will fit last. And then I'll probably start with, see, this is the problem with the A500 Plus board. Look how reflective the dimples on this also makes it look like you want to be working like that, as opposed flat down. It just still gets a little bit of light on. So maybe just put that under a minute, full focus. First, we want to clear these holes. You can see the start here of rot. So these black dots here this is electrolyte. And you can see how it's eaten through the green layer into the copper. So that's what those dark green spots are. You can see one here has started to eat through. Luckily, it's not eaten through yet. So they're the kind of things we want to look out for. Zoom right in, and you can see this would have damaged these traces. So there's another dot that's just started to expose the copper, but hasn't eaten through. So we're fine there. This is ground plane, so these dots don't matter. So the customer's caught this just in time. You see these little dots here. These are the electrolyte. And it's spread nowhere. So normally this goes all the way down to these pins, all the way over to here, which we need to fix. We need to fully lift this out and socket this and clean this. I might just put a new one of these in because it won't do much damage to the chip, this being sitting on the chip. I might just swap it out though for a new one. And then nothing else. It'd reach all the way up to the Gary. You've seen it before. All the way over these. It'd go all the way onto these. Luckily, it's literally spread a little bit to here and done no damage there. Like everything's just about intact. So all we need to do, by the looks of it, is clean up and remove that chip. And then put a new battery in, socket this and recap. So perfect time to just catch this problem. Right, let's start with removing this then. So we will zoom out a little bit, I guess. Hey, morning, Chris on TikTok. Sorry, TikTok messages don't seem to be filtering through on the main chat, so I might be a bit slow at spotting them. Where should I start in electronics repair? If you sub to Twitch or be a member of YouTube, I have a members-only live streams I do to teach you exactly this kind of thing. So I'd personally start there. If you want to do it yourself, I'd probably grab Game Boys, I'd say. I'll put this ready. I don't think we need it just yet. I'm just removing. I'd probably grab like Game Boy consoles and have a go at fixing them and learning them. But in terms of learning how to do it, that's literally what the live only subs and stuff are for. Kind of teaching people how to do this. Ah, yeah, the old. See, I like going back and forward between them, like going on the Neo Geos and Amigas and things like that, and going to through-hole components. Easier to work on in one way, and also more difficult in another. So, the more difficult to remove components, like personally, this is a little bit more difficult to remove than SMD stuff for me. Whereas other people find it the exact opposite way, where they actually find it easier to work on through-hole components. But yeah, I like bouncing between the two, to be honest. Normally this cap as well will just fail when we remove this chip. That normally just fractures when it's had a bit of damage from the battery acid. So we'll see if that survives this lift. I'm running hot air as well before people ask. Actually, I'm running it at my original 480 and 80. I'm going to lower this down to 330 Celsius and 80% airspeed. Now I'm running this one at the minute. I always used to run it at 480, but this new hot air station is a lot better, and it's because I kept realising I was killing Game Gear VDPs with too much heat. So I've lowered the working temps down now, so things take a bit longer, but are generally a bit safer to work on. To be honest, that is a bit hard to get, and I'll probably just use my tweezers carefully on this as well. Let's just remove that out of the way. This is probably a perfect example where that little preheater would work good as well. Comments filtered by TikTok. I don't really comment on the TikTok, so you'd have to leave that up to other people on there to see. I know they certainly normally block me streams a lot. Like, it seems to have stabilised now. We were getting like 400 to 500 people on TikTok, and then we get banned, and then we get no views, then we get 200, then we get banned. It seems to have all kind of stabilised now, and it just is a smaller number. It's like a fixed 50 to 60 people now on TikTok, whereas it was hundreds before. So I don't know whether they've just put us in a different little category that isn't as well monitored, but also isn't as heavily pushed. I don't know. But yeah, TikTok's a bit of a pain for the filtering side of things, for sure. Do I fix Steam Decks? No, we don't. Just, again, the time that we have and the amount of work we have, we've limited what we work on, really. Nearly there now. Yeah, I'd normally run flux. I just I can't be bothered to put the extractor fan on at the minute, and I'd need the extractor fan on once I drop flux on this. So I'm just doing it dry at the minute. And I'm running this a lot lower temps than normal, so this is why it's taking longer. I'm purposely running quite a lot lower air temps on the hot air, just to protect the boards more. So just taking the time, basically. Hey, Kiso Keso, not sure how you pronounce that. Welcome in. Phones, we don't really work on phones, unfortunately. Well, we wouldn't want it to be too many. We'd get too much of it in if we were working on phones. So I'll probably go underneath this one now for the last bit, maybe. Let's probably swap the camera over to this side now. Go here. In fact, why don't we? I know this is going to cool the board down a bit now, but why don't I just try my little gripper arm, see if this is strong enough to hold an Amiga up. We shall see. If not, I've got an even bigger one. There, look at that. Perfect. That's held up in the air now. I can get underneath. Probably want it even higher up, to be honest. Almost like that. There we go. So I can now just hold the board up, floating on a big arm like that. I can work under it easily. I'm going to put my air temps up to probably 370 as well, with this board being quite large. I'm going to put it up to 370 just to get that extra bit of heat. Otherwise, it's dissipating into the circuit board, and if I don't preheat the board, we'll be here forever kind of thing. So just going to, again, I haven't got used to these new lower temps yet. So until I get used to each board at these new lower temps, I'd normally be working at 480 Celsius. Now I'm working at a lot lower. I've got to figure out the perfect balance between temps that are low enough and not too low, basically. But I might just end up going back. Like I say, I've ran 480 for, well, forever. That's what I've always ran. I've never had issues. The only issue I had was noticing the Game Gear VDPs dying on me. So just in the interest of that, I figured I might as well try and learn different profiles, you know, lower temps and taking my time. It definitely takes a lot longer to do this, because this would have been off in like 30 seconds at 480. But there's no harm, there's no rush. So I'm just trying the much lower temps. But I think maybe this is where the little preheater would work. I think next time I come to do one of these, if I want the lower temps on the iron, I'd probably preheat this board for sure. Good morning, welcome in, Dave. And Pledge, just noticed as well, welcome in. We are just doing an Amiga 500. We're just swapping out one of the chips, which I think I'm just going to have to go back to my classic 480 on this. I think unless I'm going to preheat this board, I think we'll be here all week trying to get this off at the lower temps. So let me move my little arm back up in the air a minute. And let's just get this off the way I'd normally do. So that would be 480 and 80% airspeed. And we'll just go around the board. And this shouldn't take more than 30 seconds at the temps I'm used to working at. And then the next time I come to it, I'll preheat the board, like I say, and try them lower temps again, but with a preheater. And to be honest, it would be good on this because the A500s, you can popcorn them. So I have known the hotter temps you can popcorn the board if you're not careful. So that would help prevent that possibly happening as well. Do I want to update the BIOS? As in the Kickstart ROMs on the Amigas, yes. If that's what we're on about. If you're on about a different console, you'd have to let me know. We are in business now. So this cap I'll remove as well, because this is the cap I always say ends up dying or needing replacing anyway. So we'll get him out of the way. It's just a 0.1 microfarad decoupling cap. So that out, and now I can get under here. The most awkward work angle ever. In fact, I can probably get me a little actual chip remover right now. I've got the right angle. Yeah, this seems quite firmly locked in as well. I don't know whether this is it's got a load of acid underneath, so see all the black bubbling now. So there is actually quite a lot of battery acid underneath. Well, battery electrolytes, that's what's held this in place. It's been more, look at that, that's why it won't come off. It was kind of glued in place with the electrolyte. It wasn't the heat so much as all this is the electrolyte that's bubbled underneath. I thought there was something strange going on with how long that was taking. So let's clear that off. Yeah, that's going to need a good, good sanding down, that is. Yes, that's all electrolyte. I think we've seen that on the previous one. What I'll do is just sand that down, expose the traces and recoat, because we don't want to leave any of that acid on there. Where's my sanding stuff? Run out. So best way to get this off is while it's nice and warm, let's just sand it down. Water damage in a laptop, yeah, they're normally fixable quite easily. First thing is to open up, clean the entire board with IPA, except the actual LCD. And then look for any obvious blown components, basically. That's where I'd start with that one. So you can see this is why it's important to lift this chip up as well, because otherwise, under this chip, that electrolyte would continue to damage this board over time. So it might continue to work and then fail, 6 months later, because that battery acid or the battery electrolyte continues to rot through the board. Right, I think we're good. I think that's now all of the electrolyte gone. We have like a few, well, a little bit there. There are a few smears of dark spots, but I don't think there's any active electrolyte on there now. So this looks now, that's just disappeared, and it's now the pre-preg underneath. That's pre-preg. This little bit is actually, yeah, so you see, this is where it was, and then when you scrape it off, it exposes the copper. So it's like these patches here where you see the dark green, like this dark green here. They basically turn to black when you warm them up and you bubble the electrolyte. So that's why they now look black. It's basically the electrolyte that was under there is kind of heated up and bubbled and then damaged the PCB, if you know what I mean. So you're still better off getting all of the electrolyte off like this, and then you can expose all these traces. And then you're dealing with clean copper and nothing that's reactive. So now we can be assured that everything we see here is stable and not reactive. And if we see a trace that's good now, then it should be good all the way through. So you can see this trace is blown out. That would be going to there. That trace doesn't exist. So that probably wouldn't have survived much longer with the trace rot. And the rest will just bow out now before we fix. But there's all the active electrolytes gone. So that's the key thing we wanted to do there, is make sure there's nothing on this board that's gonna give us issues, basically. And then we'll socket that chip as well after. You don't need to update the BIOS on this now. It all depends on what you want to do. So certain Kickstart ROMs only work with certain games and certain things. Obviously, they have different versions. You can almost think of it like the OS, but they have different versions. And some games and some things were only written for certain versions. The most common one, I believe, is 3.1. I've got something on the wiki anyway. If you went to retro6.wiki and then Amiga's various, and then there's a section called something like Kickstart ROMs, and it tells you which are the most ideal Kickstart ROMs to use, basically. Got a little bit of electrolyte that's bubbled through on the bottom as well. Let me just sand that down. Not much, but it's kind of bubbled through to the underside a little bit. There we go. Not much at all, just a few smidges. Right, so now let's clear these holes. One way we can clear these holes is if I get this back out and put it underneath. Let's bring that down a bit now. So what I'm going to do is, you can clear these holes many ways. So there's like, obviously, to get ready, get these cleared off ready for a socket going in. You can use desolder wick and a soldering iron. You can use hot air. I'm going to use my micro hot air station. It's a new little technique I've figured out. I'm going to use some hooks on the holes. I'm going to put my extractor fan on now, so bear with me a second. I'm going to automatic switch for it there. And then what I do is I just warm up, zoom in, there we go, and I just warm up the holes. with this micro hot air. So a bit of pre-warm over the board, not too much, and then I just go straight down into the hole. And blow the hole through. That's my new little technique for clearing holes out. You can see the PCB is super delicate in this area where it's had all the electrolyte rot. So this is probably the least damaging way to do this as well. There we go. So yeah, this board is super delicate there because it's already had all that attack from the electrolyte. So it never looks as bad when if you just left it in place and cleaned the green off, it wouldn't look as bad. But the reality is, did I turn my fan on and not even move it into position? Yes, I did. The reality is this needed removing and cleaning off in order to really be usable and allow me to service this as well. It's one of them things where I say I can't leave boards in a condition that I couldn't service and warranty. So knowing that there was electrolyte damage around here, I most definitely would have to do this. And it probably looks like if it can't survive a lot light scraping, then I want to repair the trace. So I don't know whether this trace now is just covered by dark or blown out. Same with this. So we'll check all these traces now where they go, because they look like, obviously, even just cleaning them holes out has removed more of the traces. So they're obviously very weak. And I prefer to fix these traces up properly than just have a kind of temporary working solution. I want these traces to be nice and solid, and that I haven't got my iron turned on, and that we know they're going to last, basically. Desoldering through holes from the top. Yeah, I just used a micro hot air station, a little technique I've only just learned with the micro hot air. You just make sure you do that. I've put a piece of tissue underneath to catch all the flecks of solder, basically, otherwise it just goes all on your mat. But there's many ways you can do it. We're just fixing a battery acid damaged area. So this battery has leaked under here and done this kind of damage. This is obviously then when we've warmed up to remove the socket to clean under, the electrolytes bubbled up and burnt and singed the boards. That's why it looks in such a state here. But I've sanded it all down, so there's nothing remaining on there now that's of a concern for it ever rotting. And then we're going to check now what traces have survived and what need repairing. Yeah, got glass. I mean, I've had bad eyesight since I was a kid. I just wear contacts, but I wear glasses for bed for watching TV, and I had to go and get them fixed the other day because I must have rolled over on them. And then I just figured I'd buy some glasses just to wear a few days a week, because you're not really meant to wear contacts permanent. And I wear them from like 5 in the morning till 10 at night. So eventually I'll probably end up doing my eyes some damage. So I just grab some glasses try wear them a couple of days a week. Guess he isn't watching this chat, must be on Discord. Yeah, the TikTok side doesn't pop up on the overlay at the minute. It does some days, doesn't others. Used to work on Commodore here in Pennsylvania. Nice. Are the Amigas reliable? Yeah, generally, other than common issues like this, where they've got damage from battery leakage and stuff. They're generally reliable. Oh, testing the wrong one. So that one's good. That's good. Good outside of the chip. That's the other side we don't care about. Yeah, if you're messaging on TikTok and I don't see, just bear with me. I've got chats everywhere and I have to obviously get on with the work plus look around. And your chats aren't merging with everybody else's. They do sometimes, but they're not at the minute. Oh yeah, been having quite a lot of chat on TikTok. I've only just noticed. Oh yeah, geez, tons. Yeah, the chip isn't coming off well. Yeah, we figured out after that now. Obviously that it's the electrolyte sticking the chip down for the most part. Nice. Had some documentation, Amiga doc. Yeah, I've done quite a bit as well on retro6.wiki on them. I haven't done too much. I used to do quite a bit on them, and then I don't do that much reverse engineering or documentation on them now. I tend to. I think we've found the majority of the main common issues. Yeah, so all these blacks are fine now. This is just crud that's gone over the top. This has been sanded down to if these pins are connected still, they're completely solid and sound and not going anywhere. So it's just going to be this one that's definitely dead. So we will remember him in a second and come back to him. It's there. Yeah, so he gets all the way down to there. That gets to there. Can't quite tell if that's yeah, it's definitely a pad. I think this one's broken then. No, fine, I was just probing the wrong pin. That's good. Right, so I think that's all of them good except this one. So this one is 1, 2, 3, pin 4 over. Let me just make a note because I'll always forget. We've only got repair 1 then. Commodore 64 can last a very long time. Yeah, I think given the fact that we repair more Amigas, like when I did have all the stuff listed. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's coming down. It's got a break there. So I'm just drawing a quick picture. It comes out through and it's going to a dot by U13. So dot there. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just made a little drawing like that, kind of a visual. So 4 dots across. We've got a broken trace underneath, and it goes to a via by U13. So that's kind of my drawing for the 4th dot across, broken here, through, and we want to get to U13. Everything else bells out on this side. So I'll just check the other side. And if the other side works fine, then we can put the socket on and get on with the recap, basically. Yeah, I think with the when we had Commodores listed for repair, which I don't think we do now, we didn't see as many. Like Amigas we get quite often, but it's also, it could be the same thing. It's either they don't break as much or they didn't sell as many kind of thing. But Commodore 64s are very popular, so I'd say it's more than likely they were just built, really well, had some good components in, more so than being faulty in any way. But yeah, the Amigas tend to fail in a fairly common place at all times. Like if it isn't the clock battery, it's normally the RAM, or things like that. They're not normally anything unknown. Obviously, it takes experience to get used to it. Like I took a long while to repair them at the start, but now I'm a bit more used to them. Repairs can be a lot easier, and you don't have to think as much. Right, so let's put a socket on this now. And I'm going to see if I've got a new. I just don't like the state of this. I mean, look at the electrolyte that's been left on this chip. Look at that. So that's what's caused the damage. What was originally green here has turned black with the heat. It's all underneath the chip. So when we've warmed it up to remove this, and there's no real way of doing this any other way, the electrolyters all bubbled, got really hot, burnt and scored the board, and then come up and lifted with it. So it's kind of, and we used low heat on this as well, so I don't think you're ever really getting that off. Maybe if we'd have vinegar bathed it first to neutralise the electrolyte, it might lift off easier. But either way, it didn't look that bad when it was on, and then when you lift it up, you realise how much has leaked underneath. So I don't really want to use this chip, it's quite cruddy. So I need a 74 LS244, and I need a socket. So we should have both of these here, hopefully. Oh, yeah, rigid contacts, I can imagine that. Or rigid glasses or rigid contacts. Yeah, contacts, geez, yeah, I can't imagine that being nice. Right, so we've got a new 244 here. So there's our brand new chip. So we're going to put him on instead. Nice fresh chip. Apparently made in Portugal, if these are not reprinted at some point in a factory. And then we want a socket for it. Yeah, CIA chips can die, I've known that. In fact, yeah, I have done a few CIA chip replacements before. You'll probably find the repairs on the original TikTok pre-recorded videos I used to do, which I've actually started to do a few more. Well, I've done one recently, but people instantly liked it, so I'll probably end up doing them as well if I can find the time. There we go, that's the socket we want. Hey, morning, Big Bro, welcome in. We're just fixing an Amiga 500. So this is hard, the usual. The battery clock cap there, or the clock battery, has leaked and damaged this chip here that we just removed. It looks like there's been a war zone going on, but that's electrolyte damage. That's the electrolyte bubbling, burning and blistering the board, basically. Yeah, I said I've got some... which way did this chip come off, by the way? I think it was that way, wasn't it? Notch. Was it notch to the right? Pretty sure they all were. Yeah, I've got some glasses just to save my eyes. I wear contacts every day, so I figured I went to buy some glasses. I didn't go buy some glasses, rather. I went to get the glasses I wear for bed repaired the other day, and I figured I might as well just buy some glasses to wear, because I wear contacts like 7 days a week for insane amounts of time, and I probably shouldn't. You know, I haven't got issues at the minute, but just another one of them things. Looking after my eyes, maybe just wear glasses for a few days a week. Just so that before I get issues, I'm helping myself to not get issues. We just got to remove the original contact. Probably is easier from the other side, to be honest. Original contact for this battery spring that we cut off. There we go, he's out. Oop, flicked on me clothes. Ow, hot. This one that's the only reason I don't normally cut things as well, because we're going to be left with a little spring in there that we've got to get out. So let's just, what shall we do with this? Desolder pump this one, I think. Where's my desolder pump? Yeah, to the right, so we'll chuck him in a second. Right, let's do the micro hot air as well, again. Even though I'm going to use desolder pump, this is like a hybrid method. So, hot air. Very precise hot air. I've got no idea how long this will take to melt. I'm guessing not long because of how precise this hot air is. Yeah. So I think that hole is maybe still got the metal in. Yeah, the fact that doesn't want to clear like that tells me we've maybe still got some metal in there. What do we do about that? Maybe just poke him through with solder and a tweezer. I just don't like the fact that this pad has got the most. This will be like the most damaged pad for the clock battery, because this is where the acid has leaked. So we're probably going to struggle to get that hole. Actually, I might get from this side with a bit of desolder wick. Yeah, so just soldering iron, desolder wick actually work the best for that hole. Yeah, so you can just see different techniques for different holes. So you probably didn't see that happening, but with the top being so burnt already, basically you can't get your soldering iron to warm up the pad, and for whatever reason the micro hot air, I think I just didn't want to leave the hot air on it too long because I know it's already got damage. So I was just being cautious on that one, but warmed up from the other side. And worked fine. And there's you can see the pad doesn't exist on the top. That's why we couldn't clear the hole as easy, because the pad's gone. So this top pad's doing nothing, it's just an anchor. So we don't need to repair that because the pad's on the other side that matters. So that's that cleared up. But you can see even that little bit of battery leakage has caused quite a lot of work for us. So there's quite a lot of cleanup to do for such a small bit of damage. Yeah, funny enough, it does look like burnt sugar. It definitely does. It obviously electrolyte bubbling up. What is it? Grind build-up? No, it's the... Oh, look what I've just noticed. I've rubbed this again. This trace is this is loose off the board, not held down. I don't like that one. Let's pull him off. He was firm on. I've heard him snap, but let's redo him and add him to the list of traces. And that's because the copper's normally glued down to the board a bit, and because the board is bubbled underneath, there's obviously no glue adhering the trace, but it was a strong trace. But obviously, now it's moving, I'm not going to keep it on. Let's just update the little repair thing. So we've got pin 1, 2, 3. Now needs to go to the dot, which is fairly obvious, right above the letter U. So there's a dot right above here, and this goes to the 3rd pin. So this one is gone completely. So little line, gone. It doesn't really matter where he went, but let's pretend he did that. So there's a dot right above the U. That's how we kind of tell, in line with the U. This one here wants to go to the 3rd one here. Everything else seems okay. And again, we have... I should probably take a photo. What I normally do on here as well is I'll take a photo on my phone before I put a socket down, just so that if anything else seems to rip or we need to check continuity once the socket's in, we can see what was there. E107, E102, broken traces. E107? No? This one over here, E107, can't see any broken trace. Nothing made its way up here to damage. E102, where's E102? Maybe this one you're thinking, E102? But no, they look sound. The only real damage happened here. So no, can't see any other damage there. Do we do soldering jobs on chipboards? What do you mean by chipboards? In terms of working on other stuff, yeah, we work on, well, we mainly work on retro now. I used to work on everything, but we're that busy. I only really work on the retro stuff now because we're just permanently flooded with that. So we don't take on much other work now. What does the 244 do? It's basically a buffer. So it buffers the signals between, I think, top of my head, the Gary chip and the RAM. But basically it's just a a classic logic chip. So it's like a buffer between two chips on the circuit. Fifth trace from the right looks broken. A lot of them do with the black stuff, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one, yeah, we've balled out these. I'll just do a quick ball out once more now. I've kind of sanded in that area, but yeah, you can see this is on the other side and good. That's good. That's good. Good. Still good. Good. Still good. Good. He looks dodgy as hell, but he's perfectly fine. He's good. He's good. So yeah, the dark over the top here is just the burn over the top, but it's, you know, the literally that's the one we know we need to repair. That's good. That's the other one here that goes to there that we know we need to repair. That's good. This one comes down to roughly here, so if I just scrape away a little bit, that's good. Good. So yeah, they look bad, but they've been sanded heavily, cleaned, and they've survived. So at that stage, if they're looking bad but they're connected, they are connected. But yeah, the only thing we're concerned about right now is this, so we can put the socket in now. Everything else is visible, so we can, you know, if there's any other issues, we can. Oh, muted the mic by mistake then, clicking the wrong button. Yeah, the carbon's not on the pads anywhere, not conductive between it, so you can see. Here we go. Just quickly show you that. Like all this burn, put your multimeter in continuity mode. It's not conductive. It's not even a million ohms. There's nothing conductive about it. You can get your probes right by it. It's not conductive. So yes, carbon is. This isn't conductive. There we go. So let's put this in. Flip him over, and then what I do is hold with one hand, hold the chip in, zoom out a bit, and then I'll focus on here, and then I'll get the solder, because I've only got one hand, bear in mind, one hand is underneath holding the chip. Get this here. Wait for the iron to warm up, there we go. Blob on one pad to hold it in position, blob on another pad at the top, and now it's held in position. I can let go and use both hands to solder all these. So we'll just go down, solder all these in, that's all them soldered in. Just not a very good board for visual. It's very hard to kind of show you the soldering, very kind of reflective. But we can see all them are in fine. And now we have the socket in place. So then we can put the new, have I got the right one? Yeah, 244N. So this was the old one, but obviously all of this is what damaged the board originally. This electrolyte bubbling and causing all that blistering, but the state of that chip, obviously it would have been in this way. We don't really want to reuse that. So we will put this back in here. Push down and he's in good. Now we've got the trace repair we need to do. I'll do it from the other side, so all we have to bear in mind is when we flip this over, we've got to remember the other side is obviously inverted. don't want a 52-year-old trainee, you can certainly jump in on the lives and enjoy it with us and get back into it. We're just obviously small family-run business, though. We only have ourselves, and we don't really want to grow it any further than we are. It's like just the right size as it is. So I'll do these trace repairs, make sure it's still working, and then we have to jump off and get onto PS2s, and then I'll probably come back on and do the recap later on, maybe. Yeah, 600s. I've got tons of 500s and 600s, and the 1200s sell all the time, so we've never got them in stock. I've personally got a CD32 as well. I haven't really played it much. I purchased it, but I haven't really played it much, to be honest. I've done more repairs than I have playing it. See, I just hate the underside of this board, how reflective it is. It just looks not nice to work on. Let me try and prop it up. No, needs to prop up even higher. Let me try. Big fan. There we go. Just so at least it's not as reflective when we're working on it. Right, so we've got to bear in mind the pins we want to repair are the top. So this is the top pin. So it was on our diagram. We had, this is the top pin inverted. The third one over needs to go to above the U. So that means in reverse, this third one over needs to go back through the board to somewhere else. So we'll attach a wire first to there and then figure out where it goes the other side. Hey, happy Friday. I'm actually a bit miserable today. I had a shit job yesterday. Everything went wrong. What was on? Sega Saturns. Oh my God. I was ready to lob them through the wall. The Fenrir mods just don't work. So that's ultimately what we figured out. I've got 3 of them. Intermittently would work and not, and I kept thinking it was like a Sega Saturn problem. And then I've got the mode, Tyrannian mode as well. Decided to try that at some point, and that worked straight away. Although the mode doesn't work because it never read off devices, it boots. So it like, you know, I've got one for just debugging purposes, and that worked perfectly fine. Then I tried the disk drive, that worked fine, and it turned out my issues for practically the whole day with the Fenrir mods. So we've ended them. I literally rage quit and ended them yesterday, and now we just offer the Saru, which boots every time perfectly fine. I know it's not necessarily got as many supported games yet, maybe, but it seems like that's the future for the Saturn mods. So yeah, I was pretty pissed off yesterday. Probably why I didn't stream, or if I did, was it in the morning. For this wire, I'm just going to bring him round, I think, as a simplest solution. I could find fancy ways to bring the wire around, but I think just bring him around this corner. You have to bear in mind, things get plugged in here, but this is tucked right in the corner, out the way. I don't think it's going to get caught. This wanted to be repaired to this dot here, this via, so we need to make sure that trace doesn't catch the other via. We need to solder him straight onto this blob. So let's get some solder onto there, flux onto there. And where are you? There we go. So blob down. And there we go. And then we can snap this side off. I'm a Yorkshire now. I go York a lot. But no, not Yorkshire. I'm Stokey. I do sound similar. Some people do think it's a bit Yorkshire. Most people think it's like Liverpudlian. I don't know why, because I personally don't think I sound anything like Liverpudlian, but some people think that's what Stokeys sound like. Where did I learn? I'm all self-taught. So self-taught in software, and then do a bit of house bashing. Self-taught in hardware and electronics. Just literally, that's how I've always been, basically. Right, so we have, as well as that pin, let's put the fan back under so he's not shiny. pull focus. The last one was 4th pin, this way around, so 4th pin over, so obviously in reverse, it's this pin here. Yeah, so it also goes off that way as well. It's traced both sides, but it's definitely that pin. And that goes to the other side. So same thing, we will get the fume extractor over. See, I like this new wire. You can practically just strip it in the pad itself and then move it back in and out. So that's all pre-stripped. This one comes back over, and just to confirm I'm not going mad, yep, it's definitely the right pin. Because that's one of the main things you'll do by mistake, is when you flip the board over, everything's reversed and mirrored, and you end up putting things back in the wrong spot. So this one wants to be onto this pad here by the U, which was based on our note, that one. So yeah, that's definitely right. And that's it, simple as that. So unless removing that chip has done any more damage that we haven't seen, because it was quite badly damaged, but we have checked them traces multiple times, we should be good. So let's see if that has, like, we can put this decoupling cap on. This isn't super important. We need to put a cap back on here. We need the battery on. Neither of those things are going to stop the boot, so I'll do them later. QC King, he's in his bed nuzzled at the minute. Nice and warm. I've got the kitchen super toasty. He hasn't been on stream for a while. I'll have to bring him back in. The wire is insulated, so the blue on this wire, I can barely see it's blue, but the blue on this wire is potentially enamel, but either way it's an insulative coating. When I put the soldering iron at the end of it and melt it so it looks silver, that's me removing the coating, so it's then conductive. So anywhere you see the shiny silver colour, it's conductive, and you need to make sure it doesn't touch other pins. But anywhere it's blue, you can pass the wire over and touch, and it doesn't do anything, doesn't harm anything, basically. Turn that extractor off for now. Thanks. Yeah, I'm like I said, if you want to watch along on the vids and learn anything about how I do it, this is, I kind of talk through what I'm doing as I go as well. So if you ever want to pick it up a bit for yourself, I'd probably just say, watch what I do, watch what I get wrong, don't make the same mistakes, and just learn the techniques I've learned. Oh yeah, a live rusty treat machine. He'd be fatter than he is now. Everybody would be buying him treats. Right, where's this cable? This goes in here. Let's see if basically we just haven't done more damage than where we started. So, which is normally the case. We'll do some repair work and it's in a worse state than when we started. With how bad that was though, considering it didn't look bad at all, I wouldn't be overly surprised if this didn't boot now, knowing our luck, but it should do. There's no reason this shouldn't boot. Let's get the overlay on. Is this still turned on? Yep, still turned on and expecting a signal, so fingers crossed. We still get a signal, and we still fully boot, hopefully. Yep, white's fully booted, and then it'll attempt to load off something that isn't there, and then go to the kickstart screen, hopefully. Yes, there we go. Successfully not made things worse. That's an achievement. And that's not sarcasm, that's genuine. That is an actual achievement. You can often make things worse when there was, technically no problem there at the time, but that was a ticking time bomb. You saw the mess under there. If we didn't fix that, that was going to get worse. So that was a lot more work than I thought it would be, to be honest. I didn't expect it to be that much work under there. But that's the kind of thing we need to do in order to warranty our work. So when people ask what the base rate of the console's for, when they pay X amount of work or X amount of money at the start. Oh, no way, this is a USB. I just thought I broke the cable. What on earth? Somebody's like... That's weird. Somebody's repurposed some strange DB connector hybrid thing that's got a USB port and audio pins, and then made a USB cable to a SCART. I've never seen that before done. But I've ran out of my own cable, so this is one that's come with an Amiga that I've just brought. But yeah, it's a USB. Strange. Right, so that is going to be it for this one, just because I need to get on with building 5 or 6 PS2s this morning. That's the goal today. I need to work through all of them and get all 5 PlayStations out the way because they're for Christmas presents. So I'll leave this one. I won't work on this now until later. If I get time, I'll come back on tonight and we'll do the full recap. But yeah, that's all now in a position where I'd be happy to warranty this work because we've removed all the contaminants. We've put a brand new chip on. Yeah, basically, I'm happy with how that looks now. We also got to put the cap on as well. And why has chat stopped making a ping? So there's no noise on chat pings now. But not that matters. I'm just about to end the stream. Yeah, you're welcome. I don't mind doing this for people enjoying watching it. Let me just catch up on chat then first, make sure I haven't missed anything before we go. Same repair needs to do on your Amiga. Yeah, it can be a lot worse than this. I did one stream where this entire area was destroyed. Down here was destroyed. This was bad. The gallery had to be lifted and bad. It was in a bad state. This one's fairly minor, but you can see how much work's involved if you're going to do the job properly and like restore it fully. Love from Australia. Thanks, Dean. Much appreciated. Not enough hot glue. I can blob some hot glue on here if you want. I could also cover this with conformal coating. There's fors and against it. If I cover this with conformal coating and in future we need to service it, it's harder to get to the copper. The negative for it is this can oxidize, and it's also bare copper now exposed to the elements in a way. I personally tend to either leave them completely exposed or I'll put some clear conformal coating on every now and then. In this instance, I'm going to just leave it exposed. It's had rot on for however long years, and it's no worse in a sense. So I'm personally choosing to leave that one open. Solder blob near C10. There is. This will normally get a dishwasher bath anyway that'd knock stuff like that off. But yeah, good catch there. And I guess we'll bin his old chip as well. I don't think the customer's going to want that back. That can go. Right, that's all most chat. Let's have a quick look at TikTok. What we're making, this was repairing a Amiga 500 that I'll finish off later. I've got to do the recap and build back up and we're good. This one's done. But I'll do the recap later on stream if I get time. Was going to buy an Amiga 500, but would I be better off getting half meg without the... yes, if you're not going to have it serviced, definitely get it with the half meg and not the plus, so you don't have the battery over here. But just the same, the 500s can have a battery in here that leaks inside because the battery was attached to the trapdoor. So To be honest, it's either that or you grab one off us. They're a lot more expensive because they're fully serviced and recapped, and all this work's been done for you. But we do sell them fully made if you wanted to buy one that's guaranteed to work, basically. Everyday life, keep it happy, love your work. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Love from Norway. Thank you very much. I love Norway. We've been 6 times in like 2 years. Scenery is amazing over there. Yeah, I think we're all caught then, so I will jump off now. Nice quick one, and I'll be back on. Well, I'll probably be back on later. I'm just going to do a load of PS2s now, and then see how it goes. And I'll probably be later, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock tonight. I'll jump back on for an hour, and I'll probably catch some of you over there. And chat's decided to start making noises again. The integrations are random. Sometimes work, sometimes don't. Oh yeah, we have awesome vacations when we go there every time. We went to you probably know it, but obviously there's like the tourist spot for the waterfall where you go on the bridge and look at like not necessarily a waterfall, but a water feature there. And I did like a massive if I can get this thing off. Did like a massive 8-hour coach trip up all the way to the top and had like soup and salmon and stuff. It was amazing. Let me just see if I can pull it up on the maps. Zoom out. Norway. Yeah, so you can see on my Google Maps how many times I've been Norway. Zoom out. So yeah, there's all my photos, like hotspots, places we've been. But if I zoom in, and then I think you can just click onto any of these now. So let's say click up here. Of course, it's food. Yeah, so you got like even just things like that for us, just seeing like the water falling down. It was amazing. Did like obviously it's always a cruise when we've been. Cruise up into the mountains. Been going for years. This was the amazing one. Obviously, everybody went up here in full gear, wrapped up. This is what you'll laugh at. Obviously, the higher you get up, the cooler it is. I decided to go up in a t-shirt and shorts, and everybody else is in like full thermal gear. Probably the first time we went on. I'd have to find the photo for next time. But yeah. So I will catch you guys later on. Gauge wire, that is just